Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome. And if you were with us earlier, thanks for joining us. If you're just joining us now, then welcome along to the Weekend Warriors, the doubleheader here on Sunday evening, or even Monday morning for some of our viewers, or even Sunday afternoon for some over in the west coast of America. as we head to Phillip Island in Australia, this classic circuit. Always been great racing whenever we come here. I'm Tim Cox, we've got Josh Wilkie in the virtual production trailer. Charles Bashal joins me, but before I get into grilling Charles about his faults, just take a little look at the championship standings. Of course, after one round, it's effectively the race results. But of course, with additional points up for grabs, that does always throw things into the mix a little bit. Marco Panero leads the way. Well, just feel like a rabbit or a parrot repeating myself constantly. I've said it for so long over the last few seasons. 10 points advantage over Yangshi Lin, who's back, and he's back with a bang. Looking forward to seeing how he looks on this season. Jason Green in third. They got Favini, Andalo, Word Hansen, Jason Elson, and Dudu Castro. Looking for a bit of redemption season from him. Cross into Spec 2, Ian Gibson leads the way there. With a comfortable margin over Josh Justice. Paul Jackson, Phil Berry, and ran out your top 4. And then Michelle Faglini, only 5 Spec 2 drivers turning up last week. Hence why they're the only ones with points. Now let's get across into Masters. And well, my golly, have we got a stack field for you this season. Antonio Race leads the way there over Yogmani, Chris Murakami. Names were just synonymous with the top end of Masters. Jim Brewster, of course, grabbed third place in the championship last season. He's there, you know, he's hanging on in there at this stage. Gradwell 5th, Mitchell, Vaccaro, Longin, Love, and Gary Walbot going to round out the top 10 there. Let's get stuck into today. Charles, welcome along. And well, we were talking about this in the build-up. I think it was something like about half a temp or something silly that we had separating the victory last time we visited here. Well, I just can't wait for this one to begin. It's always wild, even by Weekend Warrior standards.
Yeah, thanks for having me in, Tim. Yeah, obviously I missed that. This race last season. But as I was doing the prep today, I was looking at the track. I'm thinking, wow, this is a really open track. I mean, there's really only 2, I'd say, would be tight corners, turn 4, turn 10. But the rest of them are just sweeping, you know, long, some elevation change, and it just looks like it's just absolutely suited for these cars.
Oh, it is. Oh, it is. Expect to see 3 wides into turn 1, doing corner. But it's the Southern Loop. That's the tricky, treacherous one for me, Charles. I know it's a bit more of a newer track for yourself, but I think you're going to come to love it. Well, we've got about a couple of minutes left in qualifying, and well, certainly 40 minutes time after we're done and dusted here today. Just on board with Jason Green, and that's one of the trickier parts of the circuit. Through Lukey Heights, down into MG. Just this crest of a hill here. So easy to lose the rear before you dart down into MG, hard on the brakes. And then it's about building that momentum, getting it just right, your throttle application out of 11, the short straightaway into 12. This is where you're just holding on for dear life, trying to carry that momentum, all of that speed. Head down the Gardner Straight, the front straight here at Phillip Island. It's outside of Melbourne in Australia. Green currently second. He's just on his out lap there. Marco Panero in the pits, so he's not going to get out again. He's done and dusted in qualify and has just shy of 2 temps an advantage at the top. On board with Yorkmani now. Currently highest driver in Masters, Phil Berry, top of Spec 2 by a considerable margin. He's 8th. Second place in Masters in qualifying. That's Ken Batley. He's all the way down to 24.
This is that's a big jump from 8 to 24. So obviously a really good lap by Berry. Yeah, I was just looking at the timing tower, and it's like a half a second from 1st to 15th, thereabouts. So, you know, that's what we expect, right? I mean, the qualifying is always really tight in the spec racers. And, you know, we were talking about it before the race. The field is back to where we're used to seeing it. You know, 42 cars on the grid today looks like. So you just, yeah, the 3 wides are going to be, you know, plentiful today. So it's going to be just a really exciting race to watch.
It is, and we've got 3 Aussies with us today. In the form of, well, one we've already mentioned, Phil Berry, 8th, highest qualifier in Spec 2. We've got Tom Gradwell, who's 20th overall. 6th in Masters of all the qualifiers so far. And Brad Cathcart, well done by his high standards, down in 31st, languishing down there by his own standards. But one to watch out for is one of our fellow commentators here at Apex Racing TV, Larry McLeod, making his debut in the championship. Qualifying slap back in the middle, pretty much in 19th at the moment. Looking back from green, and you're going to see the power of the slipstream as we head down towards Doohan Corner. Just giving his good friend Jorg Marnie a tow there, and does Marnie improve? Oh, Thomas Renders goes top of the pile.
Wow, what a lap. I mean, Castro went from, Panero 408, Renders comes in with a 362, and that might be a biggest shock as anything that we've had. It's just Panero is always up at the top of the board, always has really good qualifying, and for him to be not sitting on pole is a little bit strange.
Overstreet improving as well, massively up into 4th. She was around about 10th, roughly, but I do believe that is the first time Thomas Renders has qualified on pole. So congratulations to him, the Flying Dutchman tonight. Let's find out if he can translate that into a victory. His first victory in the Weekend Warriors. Looking forward to that one. But he's got some big names queued up behind him. Yang Lin pops one in there at the depth to go 3rd. Knocking Marnie down to 4th, and Overstreet and Green down, well, they're going to be sharing row 3. Oh, I'm just looking at the names. I mean, even the likes of Kane Lasky, he's down in 17th. Antonio Racing 16th. Some big names down there. Also, Daniel Sedgley, who, one of your drivers for Olympus Esports.
Yeah. That was kind of a shock that I'm over there talking with a couple of the guys in between our races, and as I'm loading into here, I see Dan's name. It's like, you're doing the Spec Racer race? He said, yeah. He said it works out for my schedule, so it might be something I pick up and run the rest of the season, which is great because Dan is a good driver. So,
well, I think once you have a little taste of this, certainly, and this is a great introduction of a track. It is so wild here. We're going to have 3 wides through turn 1, and undoubtedly it's going to be a great run to the line. But as we transition across sessions, now we can bring you up your grid very shortly when it just pops across. There we go. Thomas Renders on pole in the 41 machine, displacing Marco Panero by half a tenth in the end. Yang Lin and Jorg Marnie share row 2. Marnie, the highest qualifier in Masters. There's Overstreet and Green on row 3. Row 4 is Castro and West. James Walker, good to have him along. He joins Phil Berry, your top qualifier in Spec 2 on row 5, and Serena, your top 10. Row 6 is Jason Perry with Chris Murakami. Row 7, we've got Steve Elson and Jim Brewster. Meanwhile, Jeff Fritzscher shows a row with Antonio Race, well down there on row 8. Row 9 is Kane Lasky and Simon Mayer. Those two maybe a bit disappointed by that one. Larry McLeod and Tom Gradwell make up row 10 and ran out your top 20. Then we've got Adam Bradshaw and Dan Sedgley, an all-British row 11. Row 12 is Alan McCain. Excuse me, I Ken Batley. Then we've got Bruno Conte and Daniel Wood. Well, row 14 is Andrea Favini and Flavio Andalo line up alongside one another. Row 15 and top 30, that's Kurt Nunes and Michael Nelson. Lopez and Cathcart, row 16, row 17, that's Gardini and Vaccaro. Stephen Mitchell has Bradford Gould for company on row 18. Row 19, that's Jeff Jameson and Josh Justice. With row 20 and your top 40 being Gianni Longin and Caleb Pocock. Jeff Horniak well off the pace a bit there in 41st. He's alongside newcomer William Zarkowski. And Chris Thorpe not setting a time in qualifying. He hasn't headed to the grid, so I do not think he will be joining us. But just the 21 rows here in Weekend Warriors for round 2. Just, Charles?
Just. Yeah, so I was just looking as you're going through the running order there. 25 cars within a second of pole. So it just shows you how strong this field is. Normally we would see a couple of Masters drivers, a couple of Spec 2s creeping into the top 10, but no, one Masters, one Spec 2 out of the top 10 runners.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows the strength of the field when we talk about the likes Lasky, Mayer, Murakami, Race, Gradwell not making the top 10. Dan Woodwell down as well. Nunez, he's well, I would say languishing by his standards, down in 29. Nelson, a bit lower than where we've come to expect. The same with Cathcart. But it shows the power of the slipstream, and that's what catapulted Thomas Render, as you can see there in the 41 machine, to pole for the first time in Weekend Warriors history.
Yeah, now it's just going to be see how long he can ride up from the front end of the stick here, because obviously we know Panero is, every week he comes ready to race and has just fantastic pace. So it's going to be interesting to see if Thomas can stay up at the front, make this great qualifying work for him.
I mean, it's a scary... I would be scared. I mean, the names behind him. Panero, Lynn, Marnie, Overstreet, Green, West, Berry, Murakami, Castro, Walker, Race. That just takes us down to 13. 12 big stalwarts are always seen fighting near the front.
Yeah, Kane Lasky, who ran top 5 a lot last season, is in 19th.
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? But like I say, it just shows how competitive this field is here, and it's getting that qualifying right. It could be treacherous in the midfield, but as we know, you can make up places here, but you've got to be there, right place, right time, as we just come through MG into turn 11. Render's starting to control the pace now as Porsche 911 safety car out of sight. There it is, just entering into the pit lane. And this is all on you, Thomas Renders, to get us underway. Round 2, Season 4, 2023 from Phillip Island in Australia. As we exit out of 12, is he going to go early? Yes, he is. Ladies and gentlemen, we're green and we are racing, and he dips back down to the racing line there, bringing Yangshi Lin along for the ride. Panero down to 3rd as we will streak away down the start-finish straight, and Lynn could even make a move here as he's starting to lean on Renders a little bit into turn 1. And is everyone going to make it through? Well, in the midfield, the front of the midfield looks that way as Castro just nudging Overstreet out wide, getting caught out onto the grass nearly. Gets away with it though. Is everyone making their way through the field, and I think we've got away cleanly. Yeah,
it looks like everybody's got off to a good start. It's a little shaken out the first couple of laps as the tires get up to temp. People are finding what they've got as far as their race ability here. So yes, it's just going to get crazier from here.
Well, you say about that. Somebody's up to Antonio Race and Jim Brewster. They've tumbled down the order. So caught up in clearly some sort of midfield melee there. Meanwhile, Lynn leads. Panero's got his way back up into 2nd. Renders down to 3rd. As other than that, Kane Lasky, you said about him starting well down, Charles. He's at 5 spots already into 12. Jeff Pritchard in front of him at 4. So those two clearly working together at this stage of the race. As we head down into MG for the first time. And this is where you get to see the power of the slipstream at Phillip Island as we wind it up out of 11. Through into 12, and it's going to all change potentially, or we're going to find out who's fuel saving out there. Murakami making advances, just getting past Bobby West. In front of him, Lasky making up another place. He's inside the top 10 as he finishes lap 1.
Yeah, and this is what we'll start seeing. We'll start seeing cars as we see Lynn with the fastest lap from 2nd place. Panero out front now. We'll start seeing who wants to lead and who wants to just kind of follow and save fuel. Obviously, we're pretty sure Green is going to be one of those who will be content to just ride around behind somebody, and then we'll see who else is willing to do that.
As we delve deeper into this one. Meanwhile, Yogmani on the inside there.
No, he doesn't want to wait around. He said, I'm going to get to the front.
He's not hanging around for anyone, is he? That's just Thomas Renders dispatched off. Still leading Masters, but onto the podium overall. Also, it's happening to Jeff Pritchard. He's tumbling down as well. He's been involved in a bit of an incident, clearly. So, 3 casualties. Pritchard, Brewster, and Race. Been early incidents here today. But your man, Danny Sadley, Essentially, sorry, he's up 8, he's up to 14th, so he's had a cracking opener here at Phillip Island. Big places game. Favini up 9-2 as we see a replay now. Right, here's what happened to Jeff Fritcher. Outbraked himself. A tap from behind. Oh, no, a tap in front, and then, wow. Collected by Bobby West, who had nowhere to go.
Yeah, I think that might have been he just had to check up and maybe too hard on the brakes, and then with a little assist from behind, he's headed the wrong direction. So I'm sure didn't look like too much damage. So maybe he can just kind of work his way back into the field and maybe use some of this slipstream to get a few of these positions back before we get ready for the pits here in about 15 minutes or so.
Wow, this is where it gets interesting, really. Oh, Castro off wide, so's Walker too. That's Renders strung out on the outside there.
I know there's a technical term for that, but I always just call it monkey see, monkey do. You're basically just following the guy in front. He goes wide, you go wide with him. So yeah, it's you see that a lot. But obviously, you know, as we talked about this with the Formula Fords, you know, with the new friction model for the grass and the dirt, you know, you can take these cars off in the grass a little bit and feel relatively comfortable that you can bring it back on in one piece.
But you do lose a lot of time now. That's the only trouble.
Yeah, that's it. It does what it's supposed to do. It slows you down, but you manage to maintain some control of the car. But yeah, you're going to lose a couple of spots, but you get to live to fight another day.
On board with Overstreet. That is Lasky in front of us in 9th for now, and currently trying to make Jason Perry's life an absolute misery. Really making up places here in the early stages is the American. Set to the highest position gainer. He's up to 12th. I'm sorry, 22nd. So that's up 10 spots. As it is basically nose to tail from Lynn down to Overstreet. And then the second group is Murakami. And it does not stop realistically until Vaccaro, who's in 37th.
Yeah, it's crazy. You're looking and there's just half-second gaps between every car or closer. It's just insane.
So we head through Southern Loop now. For me, Charles, I think this is the second hardest corner on the track. It's never ending. If you get it a little bit wrong at the start or even the mid corner, it just amplifies. It's so hard to get it right on the exit there to bring the car back. As up front, I'm sure I've just spotted Mark. Wow, he was on the attack. He couldn't get it done though, but he's going to be slow off the corner. And here comes Yogmani, but he's just blocked off there by the wily old fox that is Marco Pinheiro.
Yeah, just, you know, these are names we're used to seeing up front, so it's not really that much of a shock. Obviously, Lynn
Charles,
is,
I'm going to cut across you. I think there's been a big old incident. Ooh. Lopez involved. There's Nelson off. Elson involved too. Wow, there's a few. I think Antonio Reyes caught up in it as well. I think, yeah, that's down into Honda, isn't it? And there's been a bit of a collection of people as maybe someone's lost it or made contact, like we saw early on with Fritcher, but personified to a much larger scale. And yeah, that's really broken up that midfield pack quite a bit. There's some big gaps emerged already. I say big gaps by Weekend Warrior standards at 2 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's 2 seconds is a huge gap of time for these races. And yeah, that's just one of those when you're racing front, nose to tail like that, and you've got upwards of 20 cars. It just takes one mistake, and you're taking out multiple drivers. And so, it probably won't be the last time we see this. We'll see if that's has maybe stretched the gap a little bit, stretched the field out a little bit.
Well, let's for here, Maria, that we're going to find out exactly how it all unfolded. Favini and Pocock into the pit, saves Fritcher. So saw the change for the lead there, though, with Pinheiro, although Lynn going to sneak his way back in front here, potentially. But let's take a look at the replay. So this is on board Antonio Reyes. It's all happening, I think, already up in front of him. And he's going to arrive at the scene of the accident. There you go, there's bumpers. Oh, he was, wow, just caught there as he was trying to thread the needle through the traffic. Wow.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was, yeah, you come up on that, an incident like that. It seems like that corner is going to be our trouble spot for this race. I think that's the second time we've seen cars around there. So I probably won't be the last. I'm sure these drivers race hard from start to finish. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's another car around or two before it's all said and done.
Well, that's Nunes into the pits, Longin in front of him. So, well, they can actually, looking at the clock, Charles, we're 8 minutes into the 40-minute race here. They can make it home on that. So, it's not out of the rounds of not having to stop again, but it's against them that, Favini, 30 seconds down. And that's, well, everyone's, big gaps behind. I mean, Longin's 18 seconds behind Favini or more, so... Yeah, that's going to be a tough day at the office for those drivers. Well, out of all that melee, unfortunately, your boy Dan Sedgley, he's lost the honours of the top overtaker. Now gone to Claudio Gardini, the Swiss driver, at 15 spots.
Yeah, Gardini obviously having a good run. Yeah, Dan's up 11, but, he's having, for first time out, he's having a pretty good race so far.
He is indeed, and just spying in front of us, Charles, there. In the foreground, Lynn and Pinero swapping round once more. As Castro having a bit of a blink there. That's going to be a novering for Thomas Renders. He's just got past, in fact. Castro just determined not to lose this top three. The last thing he would have wanted whatsoever, looking back for him, that is Renders behind us. He's got Walker, Green, and Lasky tucked behind him. Overstreet just falling off a little bit right now, but still plenty of time to bring that one back, that is for sure. But it's the power of the slipstream, isn't it? If you drop out of this group, that's it, you're in trouble.
That's it. Yeah, it's it's basically, it's not over racing, but it is over racing. And the draft is so powerful with these cars. You see them running nose to tail. It's almost like it's almost like the cars are designed to go nose to tail, right? Just the way they're shaped. And so, yeah, Castro obviously is trying to make up. He was running second last week, and just a little pit entry error cost him a chance to win the race. I know he wants to try and make up for that.
I mean, it took us a few looks, and even post-race having a bit of a look at it as well, to try and establish just how he managed to do it, because it was such fine margins, wasn't it, that he got caught by?
Yeah, it was. He came in behind another car, which is what shocked me, is how it's almost impossible. I would have said impossible before it happened, almost impossible to come in nose to tail with another car and then and one of you get the pit speeding penalty. So yes, it's odd.
On board with Marnie right now. That is Lynn and Pinero in front of us, tucked up behind us is Castro and Renders and Walker and Green. It's top 7 breakaway group right now. They've got about a 3.3 second advantage over Overstreet, who's coming like 8th. He's just made her way past Kane Lasky.
Yeah, I think there's a little like a half second. Or sorry, there's a little bit of a gap between Overstreet and Green. I'm trying to just look at my intervals here. So basically we're at 2 groups. Maybe it's Green and Walker is where the gap is. Overstreet spins.
This is the trouble, isn't it? Wow,
Yeah.
She's managed to find a gap there to get it turned around, but look at all the time she's lost, let alone places.
Yeah, and she's out of that group now. So, and you see behind her, there's a group of 3 that probably will catch her, but she's coming into the pits now. She just said, you know what, this is as good a time as any to take my pit stop. And she came in hot there.
Oh, is that going to be another one who suffers the speeding on pit entry? I do have to wonder. The pit lane here, it's a little bit of like Silverstone on the new version, but in reverse, where you've got that really high pit wall, the track's above you, but then that equals out, as you head down the pit lane, but obviously in reverse at Silverstone, where that distance increases towards pit exit. So see our top 2, well, look at this. Look, the animals coming onto Noah's Ark right now, 2 by 2 as we head down to Honda.
Yeah, this is a Castro up to P3 now, looking to trying to find his way around Lynn. So yeah, he's on the hunt. He wants to be up there. He wants to be in the front. He wants to win this race.
Can he though? I mean, look at the names in that top group that we've got here. Our Renders will be desperate to try and time that run to perfection. There's just Justice into the pits for an early stop. One of the drivers caught up in that earlier melee. He stops on 13 minutes in the 99 machine. So that's what his paint says. It's actually 399 in this series, but we'll let him off. We'll let him off.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the group that's up front, the top four is what something you'd normally see those in any race. I think Renders and Walker have done a really good job to hang in there, staying fifth and sixth. Green, once again, we figure he's probably fuel saving, but he'll be up front before it's all said and done, probably. Sedgley, like I said, having a good run, but that's where the gap is. So he's got the gap to make up. So he's just hoping that he gets some guys behind him. And Lasky, who is no slouch as a driver either, is right behind him and will probably give him some help.
Brad Schuster's made his pass way past Gradwell. That's crucial in the battle for Masters podium. He's into third in class right now. Second is Murakami. He's 10th overall. Of course, Yogmani in this lead group. So yet again, 2x2 into Honda as Walker gets past Renders. That's up into fourth for the Canadian. As Jeff Yorniak into the pits right now from 30th position. So if the drivers that have stopped so far, Charles, let's take a little bit of a look. Who's leading that way? Well, it's Larry McLeod, stopped on lap 7. He is currently 28th overall. That's the name to watch out for.
That is a name to watch out for. Yeah, he's 41 seconds back. It looks like it's about a 30 to 35 second delta on the pit. So that's going to put him a little bit further up. Once the pit cycle's out, it's going to put him somewhere close to the top 10.
Brilliant view here. Gets the split screen there of coming down the pit lane versus is coming down the front straightaway. And who is going to take this one? And interestingly,
yeah, the pit exit here is a little bit tricky because it's basically straight onto the racing line. So you have to be very careful as you're getting back in there because when you get these cars, they start fanning out 2 and 3 wide. You could very easily find yourself on the outside of a 4 wide, and you're just coming out of the pits.
Lynn past Panero, who's a bit wide there, and Lynn a bit slow of the corner, and here comes Castro into second. But he's only just nudging in front right now, Charles. Panero's going to have that inside line coming down into Honda. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers? This plays into Lynn's hand. He could open up a bit of a gap here, potentially. Still side by side. Castro and Panero, we know about those two. They've come to blows before here in Weekend Warriors. Panero, in the end, edges just in front of De Castro.
Yeah, it's a good battle there. That's, that corner looks like it's... it's a good passing opportunity, but it's also a really good opportunity for issues. And so that time through, you could get through 2 wide and no harm, no foul. As we see Gould exiting the pits. So yeah, those 3 up front, we'll just throw the whole 7 in there. It's anybody's race at this point. So it wouldn't surprise me if any of these 7 cars ended up on the top podium of this or top step of the podium.
No, when it comes down to the last lap, if this lot's still together, it is going to be a roll of the dice as to who gets this. We've seen it before. We will see it again here at Phillip Island. On board with Yogmani just ahead of us. That's Panero going for the lead against Lynn. Marnie backing out of it. He's playing this one safe right now. I get a feeling he's going to try and fuel save this one. So he's been content, just, biding his time, staying out of trouble, just keeping his nose in the game. We're currently at 17 minutes. We're fast approaching half race distance here in Australia. But
Yeah,
equally,
I think
Jason Green, I think, Charles, having said that, as the top two again swap around once more, we know what he's like at fuel saving. He is the master of it. We've seen it in the Formula 4s time and time again. If you can pull off the same trick here, he's just quietly at the back of this group, minding his own business, and he's the one that they should all be worried about.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And Panero, to an extent, also, I think Panero is maybe less about fuel saving and more about fuel gambling. I think he short fuels quite a bit, and with the thought process being get out front and save from there. But I think Green says I'm going to save up until we get to the pit stop, and then I'm going to make my pit stop as short as I possibly can, and that's going to get me out to the front of the field.
We've seen it before, haven't we, where Panero's ran out of fuel in the closing stages. For me, last season, I do believe it was at Brands Hatch on the Indy circuits.
Yeah.
Got it very, very wrong, and that's the trouble with those short nature circuits. It's so easy to go one lap further than what you anticipate going.
Yeah, I think he was a half lap short. Yeah, I think it was a half lap short at Brands Hatch.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was. We were watching the gap tumble, weren't we, for the last couple of laps? You know, losing a couple of seconds per lap for what was going to be a dominant victory. I think he ended up finishing 4th in the end or something crazy. If memory serves me right. Just on board with James Walker. So not so much an issue with us for us tonight. The fuel saving gamble. And there you go. You can hear that fuel saving runs it in a bit deeper. We're going to see Thomas Renders appear on our right. No, we're not. He's going to bide his place and sit where he is at this back of this group with Jason Green. And I'm just keeping half an eye on lap times as well for us, Charles, of what Kane Lasky's doing. Currently 8th and leading the charge to try and hunt down this group. Well, bad news is last time around, he was about half a second slower than our leader, Yang Lin.
Yeah, these, you know, it's just at this point, you got a 5-second gap. It's going to take, once again, I think there's more of an opportunity for them to come back to you than you to get up to them. Did somebody peel off to the pits there? No, maybe not. Okay.
Well,
didn't see it. Okay, is that?
Come on, Charles, I'll let you finish off your point.
No, I'm just saying it's, you know, when you get a gap like this, and these guys up front really aren't doing a lot of dicing. I mean, the front two are basically swapping the lead back and forth when they get down into Honda. But they just stay in single file line. They're content where they are. It's very hard to make up time when they're doing that, especially when they're running a really good pace.
Just having a little look across the chat. Thank you, Aaron Thompson. I love you too. Christian Banker saying 2nd to 7th is fuel saving. Well, I think it's more 3rd to 7th. Lin and Panero just constantly trading places. Now, interestingly, they're coming up a little bit of traffic. That's Yanni Longin, you might just catch in the distance there. And also Thomas Cope, someone you know very well, and we know here from Apex Racing TV, more in the GC3.
Yeah,
Stratosphere. Yeah, apparently he's quite good in the Porsche Cup once
in a
while.
Yes, he is.
Saying, yeah, but Dan says at 13 places, he's up to 9th on his debut, so that's a cracking result for him. And who else have got? Marco Panero said hello at the start. Well, we know he's deep involved in racing. Trenton Kramer saying hello from VIR. Also, we'll be visiting there next week in the Formula Fords in Weekend Warriors.
It's going to be a fun race.
It's going to be wild. It's going to be wild. Next week's Summit Point for the SRFs. We should tune in for that one here on Apex Racing TV. Lasky's in the pits.
There we go. So yeah, there we go. So yeah, he's made up a lot of positions, obviously, and so now he said, you know, I don't think I want to lead this group. I think I'm gonna come in and just get my stop done. Put Sejli back out in front of that second pack. As we see with him, Murakami's in there, West, Barry, and that's the group. still trying to track down the front 7 and still, 5.5 seconds. They're still just kind of losing time to them.
Not too bad though, Charles. Looking at Sedgley's last time, and it was roughly on par, maybe a tenth slower than our lead group. But I mean, yeah, it's great they're maintaining pace, but they need to be catching them if they want to stand a chance of finishing on the podium here today. And I just don't see them doing it. 5.5 seconds, roughly the gap between our chasing group and our lead group right now. Lasky back out of the pits. He's come out into 15th. But he's in a pocket of space by himself. He does have Brewster about 3/4 of a second behind him. So that's going to help out Brewster. But crucially, Lasky's come out in front of McLeod, who was our lead driver who had stopped so far. Let's just take you through your standings there. So we're on fast approaching 24 minutes out of the 40 here. Lynn, Panera, Castro, it's podium overall. Marnie, Murakami, Gradwell. Podium in Masters, they're 4th, 9th and 12th respectively. Spec 2, Phil Berry still leading the way commandingly. He's a length overall. Second is Bruno Conti, the Italian. He's up to 21st. Second in class. And then Ken Batley's 32nd. So Spec 2 really spaced out in terms of their podium. As well, Daniel Wood, that's spinning the walls a little bit. And that's probably why he is all the way down in 27th.
Yeah, that's the NASCAR modified look for the Spec Racer. With just no front end on it.
Well, yet again, these two side by side ones. Oh, Castro just having a little bit of a slide there. Did well to collect it, but he's going to lose a place to York Marnie. He's going to say thank you very much, Dudu. I'll have that place from you. Oh, everyone's still together though. Don't need to worry about it too much here. Does Castro go on the attack? Lynn playing the defensive game. Yes, Castro goes on attack. And he's going to get that play straight back from Marnie. Back up into 3rd for him. Still. It's... I mean, Christian Cabanco in the chat was saying, 2nd and 7th. But I think for fuel saving, I think realistically, actually, it's got to be Walker, Renders and Green.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think Monty does a lot of fuel saving. We've talked to him, and he just says, "No, I just drive." Now, I don't think he's really pushing the issue. I think if he wanted to get by Castro that time, I think he could have. It just didn't like he was just he didn't want to really put a lot of risk into it at this point of the race.
We'd say in England, didn't want to risk it for a biscuit.
Exactly right.
Not your sort, though. That'd just be wrong. Anyhow, back to this, the peloton, the following chasing group on board with Murakami. That's Dan Sedgley in front of us. We set up 14 spots. Cracking debut for him. Murakami going to be towed along now, but needs to be careful of West. There we go. Right behind us. He's got a crumple for an end. That's going to hamper his chance of progression and top speed. The drivers do have one faster pair available to their name. It's all Tom Gradwell into the pits. Where is he going to come out? Well, possibly even behind Larry McLeod and Overstreet. So, actually no, Overstreet is it's about 13 seconds behind McLeod. So, could well nestle out behind McLeod there. But, I mean, this group still, well, McCain's the interesting one. So Phil Berry even, he's the... Well, he doesn't need to force the issue, really, does he? Look,
No.
He's leading Spec 2 by a country mile. In fact, Charles, he is 55 seconds in front of Bruno Conti, second in Spec 2. 55 seconds.
Yeah,
he's 1 minute 43 lap. That's a long time.
It is a long time. Yeah, he's very content just to stay where he is. It's about the class position, I think, for these guys. So, he's leading by a big distance. So yeah, he's content to just kind of ride amongst this 4, and then see if they can track down the front, which looks like the gap's starting to drop a little bit. It's like that the second pack is starting to close up just a little bit to the front 7 as we see Lynn coming into the pits.
Oh, wow. First to break off there. Gets it slowed up in time. That's crucial. We've seen that before. Dan Sedgley into the pits too. So's Phil Berry. In terms of Gradwell, where he came out. He came out 19th overall, 5th in plus. So they came up behind to look McLeod, Overstreet, and Mayer, who'd all pitted so far. There's Lynn in his pit box. Interesting he went, but no one else went with him, so could get hung out to dry, Lynn. That's the danger here at Phillip Island. Can he recover that one for, well, a chance of victory? I mean, for me, Charles, I probably would have bided my time and waited to see, you know, gone with someone else. Just round this one out as long as possible. But we are on 28 minutes, so, you know, we are deep into pit window territory here.
Yeah, and then I completely agree. Yeah, he's kind of just left out, and now he's he's basically by himself on track, which is not really the thing that you want to be doing when you're on a draft track like this. As we see, Lasky is in P10, so he was able to just basically he's got a 5-second gap over Sedgley now. So that was a battle that they were having on track. That undercut really did some work for him, so he's got a nice little gap and is kind of on his own as well.
Yes, I see now Panero. Wow, that's hurt him dearly. That's hurt him dearly. Let's take a look at how it all unfolded, Charles. Leading the pack under the pressure there from, well, Castro, Marnie, Walker, Renders all in the pits. Panero's coming too. Jason Green's going it alone, and he just ran it out too wide.
He did. And there we see the gravel trap doing its job, slowing the car down. And of course, but you know, the downside is it costs you a lot of time on the track. But you're not in the wall, so you know, I think that's probably a better thing. But yeah, now he's got some work to do to catch up to that front group. And if anybody can do it, it would be Panero, right? He's generally one of the fastest drivers that we have week in and week out. So
well, there goes Castro. So he's going to come out in the lead. Where is Lynn? Keep it up. There he goes flying past us. So we're on board with young Marnie. Lynn is going to slot in front. Well, I questioned it, Yangshi Lynn. Had you got it right? Had you made a mistake? You knew what you were doing. And he emerges 1 second in front of Castro. Walker made good progress there. He's up to, well, realistically third on the road in this group. Ooh, Charles. Marnie's lost time. He is 1.8 seconds behind Walker, who could make an attack here on Castro. No, thinks twice about it. Dips back in once again. 9:17 there, and Stephen Mitchell trying to stay out of everyone's way. Really broken up this group, but here's Jason Green, your leader, the only driver yet to stop. He's gone longer and deeper than anyone here at Phillip Island. And is he going to come in this time around, or can he stretch it one more time? Let's find out.
Yeah, for sure. Let's find out if he's going to come in this time. He is indeed. Got the extra lap from the fuel saving. So that'll help him out on his pit stop time. But yeah, Monty, 2 seconds longer stoppage than the rest of that front group.
Extra click of fuel. That's all it's come down to, isn't it, realistically?
That's it.
Oh, Lynn's lost a lot of time, Charles. He's had an incident and he's lost the lead. As we see Jason Green head into the pits. Well, it's all up. It's like nobody wants to lead. Panero has an issue. Then Lynn has an issue. Castro leads this group. But where is Green? He's heading out of pit road. Where is Castro? Who's going to emerge out in front? Green's got to get up to speed. And who's it going to be? I'm looking in the distance. They're all going to meet at turn one pretty much. Lynn ahead of Panero, but only just. Green tucks into third behind Castro and Walker.
Wow. So, yeah. So it came down to Green coming into the pits, but he was roughly the same pit stoppage time as the rest of the group minus Monty. So nothing really gained from him coming in a lap later, and probably is a detriment because all these guys had the slipstream to work with on their out lap.
Exactly, and that just shows, doesn't it? Wide. Oh, Walker a bit wide there. Can Green take advantage? He needs to, because if Castro gets away, then these two are going to have to really push one another and work together. They're okay, though, for now. But Lynn is 1.3 seconds behind in a group of Marnie and Panero behind him. Renders, well, he's fallen by the wayside. Unfortunately, they'll be, well, never say never, but it's not looking like a victory. for him after starting on pole position for the first time as Lynn shuts the door in Marnie's face there.
That was so close. So yeah, obviously they're fighting hard. Monty wants to get around if he can. He wants that spot. He wants to see if he can get back and challenge that front group and see if he can get the overall victory here.
There we go. Now the final corner, winding it up. Panero harassing Marnie right now. So we head out onto lap 20. Surely this is going to be Panero in front of Marnie, who squeezes him to the inside there, tries to make it free wide. Can he dip past Lynn? Can Marnie follow him through? As Lynn squeezed to the outside there, cleverly by Panero, getting a 2-for-1 deal there. No, Marnie tucks in behind Lynn. Group in front of them. Still Castro, Walker and Green in that order. Marnie, as you can imagine, is comfortably leading Masters right now. Gradwell second, he's 14th. Race 18th. That's a good recovery from him because he fell pretty much at the back of the pack.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, to get back up into the top 20 is a really good, strong recovery from for Race.
And to be on the podium in class as well. It's a cracking one for him. Phillip Berry, well, he's looked comfortable all afternoon in terms of Spec 2, 13th overall. And then we have got, well, it was Bruno Conti, wasn't it, before the round of pit stops. It's now Ken Batley, who occupies second in Spec 2. He's all the way down in 26th, though, so 13 places behind. But then Josh Justice, he's climbed 9 spots to now be third in Spec 2. Conti's dropped to 4th in class. Well, I think it's time to buckle in, Charles, because we've got 5 minutes left to go. What's going to be a bit of a wild finish, I could predict here. Especially as whoever's had the lead has fallen by the wayside in the form of Panero and then Lynn. But can they close this gap? I mean, they've taken another 10th out of this lead group. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough for them. As Walker's just got ahead of Castro. Panero's being closed in by Lynn. He's going to bump draft here. There you go. You feel the bump engage there.
I will say this, that the battle with Walker and Castro will help the second group catch back up. The longer you spend side by side, the easier it is for those cars behind to just slowly pull in and make this a much bigger race, as you can visibly see the gap closing. So now it's like a second and a half between Green and Panero.
This is ebbing and flowing. Watching on the timing sheets. As Walker launching attack on Castro there, having a cheeky look at the inside into Honda. Can't get it done though. And you said, Charles, that's just cost them about 2 or 3 tenths.
Yeah, every time you do it.
Panero's got it down to 9 tenths. If he can just eke out another 10th or so, 2 certainly, then he will be in slipstream range, and then this group are in danger. But I think we've got maybe 2 laps to go. I think this lap and then we'll be on white flag lap, 1 lap to go. I think from my rough calculations, yes.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that's right. So yeah.
Oh, but they're there already. Look, they're there. Wow.
Yeah, that just shows you how powerful the slipstream is here. It's just amazing. So now you've got Monty, who's kind of fallen off the back of this group a little bit. But you've got the top 5 now. Monty obviously will get a really good tow down the straightaway here. As you see, Castro and Walker still battling up front.
Well, they're gonna be, that is for sure, aren't they? Because we're down to the business end here, and Castro darts to the inside there. Can't get it done on Walker. Green now getting his elbows out, getting aggressive, but look who's sneaking his nose up the inside there. It's what Marco Panero, he knows how to win the Weekend Warriors. He knows how to win around here at Phillip Island. And yet again, showcasing his strength in this car. Up into 3rd, Green down to 4th. But don't discredit Yang Jilin. 5 at the top. Spec Race support drivers on the iRacing service are going at it here. We have only got 2.5 minutes, not even that, 2 minutes 20 left on the clock. Who takes this, Charles? I just don't know. I mean,
who knows at this point? We got lap traffic in front. That's gonna shake things up just a bit.
Well, luckily, Dice has got 6 sides. Marnie, he's just maybe out of the equation, but he's saying that lap traffic could play a part of it and bring him back into this. If it does, just get that dice and roll it, Charles. That's who's going to decide who wins this one, I think.
I think you're right.
Here we go, folks. Here we go. And yes, it's going to be white flag in the air when they come across the line. But do you want to lead on to that final lap? That is the killer question.
No. I don't want to be leading. Castro is just a, unless this lap car gets in the way, Castro's just a sitting duck because everybody's going to try, and they're going to fan out. It may be 3 wide going into one or worse.
Poor Kurt Nunez there, squeezed to the inside. We're going to go 2-1. No, we can't make it free. Castro in the leader. Panero's up to second. Walker squeezed out there. I mean, Castro got as close as he dared to Kurt Nunez. But that run to the line, we've seen it before here at Weekend Warriors at Phillip Island. He could lose it, or he could even lose it into Honda here, the lead, of which that might actually help him. He might let Panero through. As they're going to go 2-1. Oh, they're blocking here. Castro defending staunchly. Oh, there's close again. Walker out, Castro out, Panero taken out too. And I think Green's gone as well.
Oh, man.
No, Green's made it through. And look, well, it has he, because Lynn's on his inside. And Lynn's going to squeeze through. And there is Jorg Marnie, who's got a chance here, Charles, of winning overall in Masters.
This is insane. I mean, that is not the way you want to end the race, but it looks like they're all still moving, but, that should have, that really shouldn't have happened. That's just was maybe one chance too many.
Oh, you don't overtake through there unless you're Jorg Marnie. Giving it a go, and there's contact between him and Green. Panero's caught up too. Right, it's a two-way shootout now. Lynn versus Green for the lead, but Green's losing time. Marnie's off. He's out of the equation. As there is Lynn, and he's got 8 tenths the advantage coming around the final corner. He could win this. It's looking comfortable for Yangshi Lin to take victory here at Phillip Island. He's going to do it. Green's going to finish second. Walker's going to pick up third. There's Castros, Renders, Panero, Marnie. But let's have a look down through the order, because we're not done and dusted, Charles. This is the gift that's going to keep giving. Gardini versus, I think, Andalo's going to be the next one across the line. There goes Sedgley at 13 spots. Here it comes Andalo. He's 3 tenths behind. That's Lasky being pushed home by Bradshaw. Right, let's see what Andalo can do. He's 3 tenths behind. The run to the line. Is he going to be close enough? I don't think he is. Right, that's also right. Next one up is Simon Mayer. Oh, that's close. Jess Jacobson. Couldn't quite make it. 600ths of a second. Wow. What a finish.
Cathcart. Ooh. Yeah, exactly. I think I completely agree with that.
That was a unanimous sigh of, wow, what have we just had there? So, sit rep, Jeff Jason, most amount of overtakes, 21.
Wow, that's a big run.
From 37th on the grid. Gardini, second place, up 20. And then we've got a bit of a gap to, it's your boy Dan Sedgley, that's 13. No, Flavio Andalo gets third place in that honours. He's up 14, the Brazilian. So they're all pretty much together, the highest overtakers. Yeah,
no, it was a good run. That was a good run. I mean, obviously, you don't want to see wrecks in the last lap of the race. But, they're all fighting for the win. And so you can't really fault them for trying to go for something, the old Ericsson Senna. If you fail to go for a gap, you're no longer a racer. I think that's the mentality a lot of these guys have is if I can get to the front, I'm going to get to the front. So you hate to see that end that way, but it's very exciting to watch and then broadcast it. So it's been a fabulous race. And congrats to Yangshi Lin. Obviously well deserved. In any other race, it would be just, oh yes, Yangshi Lin, he's got the win. because he's Yangshi Lin, and he's obviously a fantastic racer to be up there, challenging for the lead for most of the race, along with Jason Green, who did a great job as well.
Oh, he did indeed. And let's have a quick look through some results before we speak to some of the drivers. I think we all across the line now that we can do so. Yes, we are. That's so qualifying results. There we go. Right, Yangshi Lin, as you mentioned, Charles, winner Jason Green, who obviously is waiting in the wings to have a bit of a chat to us. That's how you do it. Claudio Gardini. That's how you do it, my friend. James Walker in the end finishes third. Duna Castro fourth. Renders fifth. Panero sixth. Yogmani seventh, your winner in Masters. Then it's West Sedgley and Larry McLeod sneaking in the top 10 there. Congrats to him, 9 spots. Overshoot 11, Phil Berry, another driver is waiting for us. He's winner in Spec 2, 12 overall. He just looks completely comfortable in that all day. There's Gardini, Andalo, Mayer, Jacobson, Antonio Race second in Masters, 17th overall. Then it's Dan Wood. Excuse me, and Brad Cathcart. Ooh, Brad Cathcart, yeah, there we go, third in Masters. Well done to him, to his home race. Then Brewster running up top 20. Then it's Nelson Ken Batley, who is second in Spec 2. Gradwell Murakami McCain Justice, who's third in Spec 2. Vaccaro, Lasky, who was being pushed over the line. Lopez, who had a big incident, and supposedly he's managed to maintain on the last lap, the Iberian. Then one lap down, running at the top 30 is Kurt Nunez, Mitchell, Favini, Longin, Horniak, Conti, Bradshaw, one lap down. Zarkowski, 4 laps down into retirement now. Gould, we lost on lap 10. Pocock, lap 8. Perry, Elson, and Fritcher on lap 3. And Chris Thorpe did not make the start. Let's have a chat to some of the drivers waiting patiently to us. Let's talk to Jason Green, normally the master of fuel strategy. Didn't quite work out for you today. I mean, it seemed like you're fuel saving the entire race, by the first half of the race, realistically.
Yep, yeah, that's pretty much all I was doing. It was kind of difficult to stay focused and concentrated. But I mean, it pretty much worked. What was it? Myself, Yanshi, and Dudu, I think, myself, James, and Dudu, we all kind of nailed the fuel strategy, I think.
Were you not tempted to come in with everyone else? You stayed out, went 1 lap longer than everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was kind of hoping they would trip over each other a little bit with that big of a group going in, so I just kind of wanted my own run into the pits.
Having said that, just walk us through that final lap. I mean, wow.
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 I pretty much said over Discord that my only shot was for them to crash, and that's exactly what happened. But I didn't think I would have a chance to be in the lead going to Siberia. So yeah, it was and then it was a good battle the last couple of corners as well. Monty tripped it a little wide, but I mean it's racing. It was a lot of fun.
Definitely is indeed. Congratulations, second place. That's Jason Green. Charles, who you got waiting?
Well, we've got our Masters class winner, Jorg Monty. We can bring him in. Jorg, congratulations on the class victory. Obviously, P7, the final result was not really probably what you were looking for, considering you were in that front group up until the last lap. Talk about what happened there.
I had actually a good race. I was a bit bored at first because everybody was driving behind, fuel saving all the time. And as you know, I don't like that much, but for once I did it as well, but just not so good. Even my pit stop was kind of good, but then on the last lap I had such a good run out of the what is the named corner? I forgot. Doesn't matter anyway. Up to that hill to the fast left-hander, and I was side by side with Jason and almost with Yanshi as well. And I thought I had to try it now, and I just sprayed about 2-3 meters too late. And that caused me almost to wipe out Jason, and I'm sorry for that, Jason. And yeah, but that was it actually. But I had to try it. I had such a good run out of it.
Yeah, just, we were talking about it. It's like, it's not how you really want to see the last lap. You want to see that side by side, but you don't want, that big group. You don't want 2 or 3 cars being taken out at the end of the race, because you want everybody to get, to make it thrilling to the finish line. But overall, though, you had a pretty good run out. Like you said, a couple mistakes, but generally a good finish for you.
Oh, actually, yes. It was a good finish. I like it. I'm happy with it. I have not crushed out anybody except touching Jason there. Sorry again to Jason, and anything else was good. I like it. It was fun.
Thanks, Jordan. We appreciate it.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys, and good evening.
From one win out to another. Phil Berry now joins us. Phil, home race.
Good morning.
Lovely. Well, yeah. Sorry. Good morning to you on the opposite side of the world.
Or evening for you guys. Yeah.
Evening for us. It's Monday morning for you. What a way to start your week, though. Dominant here in Spec 2.
I got very lucky. I think it was a nice once all the initial positions shake themselves out. I was able to stay with the group just behind Bobby.
And I mean, from that point onwards for yourself, I mean, I'm sure they were so far down the order you probably wouldn't have even spotted them. Ken Batley was second in Spec 2 and he was 23rd, so 11 places behind you. Was it just stay out of trouble and just cruise home to victory in class?
Pretty much, yeah. I might have finished in top 10 if I hadn't screwed up my pit stop. I got in and when I went to take off, I got a double click on the mouse and it started refueling again.
Yes,
so
you were longer in the pits. Yeah, I just spotted that.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, what's going on? Oh, well, click again and then try and take off, and I come out behind Megan and I was able to hold position there. So managed to stay out of everyone's way and have a clean race. Well, reasonably clean. I think I had one contact, which was with Chris early in the race.
Yeah, I mean, to talk us through that, there were a few big incidents in the midfield. How did you manage to scrape your way through them?
It was more luck, and I think that was down at turn 4 where we had someone turn, and I was just I touched the back of Chris and able to just hold the line, and I somehow got through there. I don't know how. I haven't had a chance to look at the replay yet.
I think even then, it's just one of those just hope and pray, and if you make it through, you make it through, don't you?
Yeah, pretty much just try and hold it and put your blinkers on and hope you get through.
Well, Phil, congratulations. Great start to your week. Happy Monday. That's Phil Berry, your winner in Spec 2.
Thank you very much. See you next week, guys.
Charles, there's 2 left. Thomas Renders and Yang Jilin. Which one do you want?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's go with Yangshi because he was leading a lot of that race. I know Thomas was on pole. I'm drag them both in here. I'll talk to both of them. It's fine. Yangshi. So race win. Congratulations. A little bit of drama there on the last lap. What did you see?
I mean, I had that technical problem during the race, and coming fourth, it's really not the most optimal position. And I feel like had the race go without a crash in the end, I probably will not have a chance at winning. So I was just trying everything, try to make it 3 wide, have a look on the inside of Marco, but he blocked it. I assumed that he got distracted and missed his braking, and he just rear-ended doo-doo. So a little bit unfortunate.
Yeah, it was, just watching this, it looked like the first half of the race was basically, you and Panero swapping the lead back and forth. And then the 4 cars behind you guys were just saying, okay, you guys go do that, or 5 cars behind, and we'll sit here and just fuel save for the second half of the race. So, but it made for, like I said, a very exciting finish to the race.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I actually, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to win the league championship for once. At least I try to. So I keep exchanging lead with Marco because I want to lead most laps in this race. Then we'll have 4 bonus points. Then, I mean, every time I overtake Marco, then I'm just starting to lift because I know he will say Theo. So I just lift early too to slow the pack in general down. I mean, honestly, I was ahead of everyone after the pit cycle, but I don't know. This is the second time that it has happened to me recently. Is that my wheel is turned off middle of the corner for like a few seconds. Then it comes back. Like I was about to enter the hairpin, and the wheel just suddenly doesn't respond, and the car just went straight.
Oh,
So,
wow.
likely, I had my steering back like after a few seconds, but then I was in fifth by then. But yeah, I just say I got really lucky today to get a win in the end.
Well,
Yeah.
sometimes that racing luck is helpful, and yeah, all those bonus points are going to help you at the end of the season for sure.
Yep, and yeah, also I have Mr. James Walker helping me today. I deployed him to slow Dudu down a little bit for me, so at the end of the race, after my hardware issues.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, congratulations on the win, Yoshi.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Wow. With the final words today, Thomas Renders joins us. First pole position in Weekend Warriors. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you. I was so over the moon by that. I didn't even expect it because I thought I was doing a slow lap over there. But yeah, just massive thanks to the train of Jason Green and Jörg Mani and everybody who was in that same train. So they really helped me out today.
I mean, we won't lie, in the commentary booth, it caught us completely unawares as to where that suddenly just popped up, you know, because normally in qualifying, it doesn't tend to improve the times too much, but then all of a sudden, you were up there. I mean, just talk us through the race, and I mean, well, a turbulent race for you. I know you lost a few places to start off with, but then with all that was happening in the last few laps, did you feel like, do you know what, maybe there's a chance here of a decent finish?
Yeah, definitely. I always knew I'm not the fastest guy in the lead group, but yeah, I mean it is a slipstream circuit, and I tend to be good at this kind of strategic games. But yeah, today I just took too much fuel, and that cost me the connection to the lead group after the pit stops. But yeah, I mean there's always a chance that they go battling and go slower and maybe connect again, but yeah, that didn't happen, sadly enough. But yeah, I managed to take advantage of some of the mistakes they made in the last lap. So in the end, P5 instead of P7. So I'm just very happy. It's the best result as well for me in the Weekend Warriors.
I thought it was as well. So I think on that, congratulations, Thomas, and well, pole and 5th place overall. And well, we'll see you in a week's time, undoubtedly.
Definitely you will.
Good luck for then. Well, that's all we've got time for here, so we're well into overtime, and our producer Josh will be murdering me after this for it. But I've been Tim Cox with Charles Bashal and Josh Wilkie. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you in a week's time when we'll be at VIR for the Formula Fords, and we will be at Summit Point for the SRFs. And well, if you want to sum up these words, I think Chris Jukabanka's done it perfectly in the chat. That was peak chaos. Thanks very much for joining us. Good night.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.